Hollywood has been trying to convince us that women's lives are empty until we find a man that hates us. This comment is perfect. This is my mutual. Go follow her. In the next edition of The Media Tried to Convince Women to Settle for Men Who Suck and to Feel Bad About Being Successful, I present to you 10 things I hate about you. I am so glad I did not grow up on that trash. And that whole period of time, I did not even see that movie until tonight, and I could make 10 videos I hate about 10 things I hate about you. I hate that movie. It is, Okay, let me just get started. And, I know I talk a lot about how men will write stories that make me hate the women, or men will write stories that, are their fantasy, which makes women hate themselves and settle for men that suck. But this movie was written by 2 women. There's plenty of rom-coms, if you want to call it that are trash, that are written by women. The storytelling may be good, but the message has got so much internalized misogyny behind it. I don't even know what to do with it. I know it's a product of its time. I just want people to understand the reason I talk about this stuff is because this stuff shapes how we think about ourselves, how we think about men, how we think about everything. And it may be subtle, but it's also not. Literally starts off the movie with this guidance counselor being unbelievably inappropriate towards him, making jokes about his bratwurst. I pretty much hate every character in this movie except the female lead. But even he's like, what? You're an adult. Why are you talking about my dinner? She's also writing soft corn or something and using her students. Ugh. Anyway, so right out of the gate, I love her. She hates Hemingway, calling out what an abusive, alcoholic misogynist he was. And then this doofus walks in and he's like, what I miss? Oppressive patriarchal values that dictate our education. I wish more young girls were talking like this. Right out of the gate. Good. I swear to God, y'all, if you want to know why we are living in this hellhole of Ken cells, this Quentin Tarantino movie, this crap, all of the teenage boys in this movie are on the Kinsell spectrum, including her dad. This dude, of course, maybe she needs to get some mind doll. This guy hates her because she wouldn't sleep with him after once. And he spends this whole movie trying to torture her because he hates women. And now he's going to get back at her by trying to fork her sister. Even the teacher hates her. I mean, he's pretty cool on some levels because he puts the other kids in their place, but he's just like, get out of here, feminist. And your silly oppression being a rich white girl from upper middle class suburban neighborhood. And I get that point. But the way he hates her is a little uncalled for because she has so many feminist opinions. Sends her to the office. You piss me off. Then the guidance counselor's like, everyone thinks you're a heinous bunch. And they talk about you behind your back like that. You might want to work on that. Literally everyone in this school except this girl's best friend hates her. Why? Because she's smart. She's opinionated. She is vocal about her opinion. And she doesn't date dudes. Because I thought it's because she inherently understands that they'll ruin your life and they're not to be trusted. Turns out I was wrong. So everyone talks crap about her behind her back. The only thing I truly appreciate in this movie, besides her character before they ruined her by forcing her to humble herself, before they tamed the shrew and humbled her into dating a teenage boy way beneath her. The only thing I really appreciate is this reference to eating a can of beans by the Cowboys. Now, if you don't think that these kind of movies are why we have inchmells in terms of normalizing men talking about us this way, thinking about us this way, and feeling entitled to us, whether it's the pretty girl that he's talking about right here, or the shrew that needs to be tamed. Look at the way this is, he's like talking, he just moved to town. He's like, oh, she's totally pure. You just don't see her because this guy hates the girl that he has a crush on, which is the main star's sister. This girl. She's like the pretty one that all the guys want. Look at the way this dork talks about her. She's a snotty little princess wearing a strategically planned out sundress to make guys like us realize that we can never touch her. Yeah, that's what she's doing, bro. She's not thinking about you at all. And to make guys like Joey, the jock with the big sports car, realize that they want to. So the way this baby Kinsell talks about the girl he liked, he hates her. He hates her sister. And he hates them both because neither of them can get those girls. And think everything that these girls do is about them somehow. And then he's like, this is the girl that you just need to jerk off to. Don't waste your time. And then he's like, no, I know. I'll teach her French. even though I don't speak French. I will pretend to speak French and then be her tutor to trick her into sleeping with me. Do y'all understand? This whole movie is about men coercing women. Do you understand what that means? Every movie I grew up with, and this was in 1999. So even until 1999, they're still making movies about men lying to women to sleep with them, which is coercion. The way this guy talks about Julie Stiles' character, just look at this. The amount of hate this nerd has for women is unbelievable, but also believable. Because under patriarchy, even the ugliest dork feels entitled to beautiful women. And spoiler alert, he gets one. This dude gets this woman who's a feminist and all the other things, so that two shrews were tamed in this movie. So then this whole thing between the sisters, the fact that they hate each other, I'm not saying that's unrealistic, but I find it really annoying. Hi, Danny. Hello, precious. This man is a control freak and Daddy Warbucks incel. Like the way he hates women, yet has 2 daughters. Because he's so mad that his wife left him. I wonder why, bro. I wonder why she left you. Jesus, you are obsessed with policing the virginity status, which isn't even a thing, of your daughters. You're a control freak who makes your daughters wear a pregnancy vest to remind them of what happens when they kiss a boy. Because you're afraid that all men are as terrible as you. And honestly, all the men in this movie are. But still, humiliates his daughters and pits them against each other to get back at his wife. Insecure men are the most dangerous men on the planet. And all of the men in this movie are insecure men. Cancels. Even this man, despite how awful he is, gets redemption, gets his daughter back. Fork you, dad. So while this dude is pretending to know French and teach the girl he likes French, he realizes that her sister has to go out with someone because of Daddy Warbucks' rules. So they decide to find some man, any desperate man who would go out with a beautiful, intelligent, creative, difficult woman so this dude can bang her sister. And when all these losers are like, no, not her. Like this loser, like maybe it was the last day on earth and there's no one else. Like you could pull that. I mean, God. So then Kinsell, he's like, I know we could pay someone to go out with that difficult wretch. What kind of loser can we pay to go out with such an awful woman? Oh, I know. This guy. The guy everyone is scared of. That's who they pick for her. And then they bring in the jock dude somehow who's, loves to draw marks on his face. The whole scheme, I don't even want to waste time explaining it. So the plot is basically a bunch of Kensells get together and exchange money and lie and plot and scheme and gaslight and pay each other to get 2 teenage girls to sleep with these dudes. Like, what? Which again is coercion. One day we'll accept that. So the sister's like, man, so hostile. I'm not hostile, I'm annoyed. Well, I happen to like being adored. Thank you. See, this is who we're supposed to want to be. The whole point of this movie is to humiliate the woman who doesn't want to mess with men or guys. That's all they do for the rest of the movie is humiliate the shrew. Tame that shrew. Humanize her by knocking her down. This is the teenage version of The Proposal. It's exactly like The Proposal. Almost, except maybe a little more humiliating. Like the guy who tricked this girl into sleeping with him by pretending to know French also convinced her to let him into his sister's bedroom so he could find out things about her so that the other guy could sleep with her by tricking her. Like all of these men are just tricking women into sleeping with them. There is no more sacred place than a teenage girl's bedroom. And the sister lets this douchebag in her sister's bedroom and even shows him her underwear. See, these underwear means that she wants to have schmeck someday. And then this dude feels rejected by her later on. Tells her she's selfish. She's like, yeah. Rips her a new one for treating people like crap. I defended you when people called you conceited. I helped you when you asked. I learned French for you. And then you just blow me off. What a nice guy tricking her by pretending to speak French. Anyway, This Ken cell gets the girl. All of them do. Comment for part 2.